Hey everybody, Kristen here. As you know, I believe homemade is best, but it doesn't need to be complicated. And today I'm going to share with you my papa's original pot roast recipe. If you've been a follower for long, you have likely seen my recipe for Instant Pot roast, which was inspired by my papa's Crockpot pot roast recipe. Well, I've had so many requests for me to share with you exactly what he did to make a simple pot roast that delivers incredible flavor every time. So let's get started. The most important thing about a pot roast is the type of meat you use. I have a chuck roast here, which as you can see is really marbled. I have about a 2.5 pound chuck roast. You can use any size you like. And you just want to season it really well with salt and pepper on both sides, kosher salt. Kosher salt enhances the taste rather than just makes it taste salty. You want to make sure you season both sides here, but a chuck roast is super marbled, and so that fat is going to equal flavor. And we really want a tender, fall apart, luscious meat, and that's exactly what a chuck roast will do. My papa was the king of simplicity, and this recipe you're gonna see is so simple. There's only 5 key ingredients, and that counts the potatoes and carrots. And it proves that simple is often best. There's one key ingredient that he uses that makes this over the top, and we're gonna get to that. It's a surprising ingredient that truly will make this pot roast memorable, and you'll never look back. So once you've seasoned this well, we're gonna sear this on each side for just a couple minutes on each side, just to lock in the flavors and the moisture and to give it some crispy caramelized bits. That's an optional step, but it's one that I highly recommend for the best pot roast. Now that our roast is seared, this is gonna come together super fast. So to my slow cooker here, I'm going to add in 4 cups of beef stock. That is just going to keep the pot roast super moist and tender, and it's gonna give a great base for the potatoes and carrots to get soft and juicy and flavorful. To this, I'm adding in 1 pound of potatoes. I have these baby gold potatoes today. You could use chunks of russet potatoes. You could use quartered red potatoes. You could use whatever you like. You don't even need to add the potatoes, but I love my potatoes, and my papa was a meat and potatoes kind of guy. So I'm just adding these to the base here because we want our pot roast to kind of sit on top of them, and you'll see why here in just a minute. And I like to cook the potatoes the entire time the pot roast is cooking. It is going to give them time to get really soft and juicy and flavorful. And that's why I like to use the larger potatoes and not cut these baby potatoes in half. To this, I'm adding in some baby carrots. Optional, you could use whole carrots that you've peeled and diced. And then we're just gonna season this up with some salt and pepper. I'm also going to add in some minced garlic. That's optional. I love garlic. You don't love garlic, just omit it. And then we're just gonna kind of mix that together just to give everything a little bit of flavor. You could also add in some dried minced onions, some onion powder, but my papa was the king of simplicity, and today is all about simple. Now we're gonna add our seared pot roast. Nestle that right on top there. You want your pot roast kind of sticking out of the liquid just a little bit, because what we're gonna do next is going to make this the very best pot roast you have ever had. And it is a super surprising ingredient, but I am here to say it's a game changer and you have to try it. We're going to slather this with prepared horseradish. This is prepared horseradish, which is just grated horseradish with vinegar. It's sold in the refrigerated section of your deli. So like next to packaged ham, sausages, sauerkraut, that sort of thing. It's not horseradish sauce, which is made with mayonnaise. You don't want to use that. This is just horseradish, water, vinegar, salt. That's it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and just slather the top of our pot roast. That's why you want it kind of sticking out of the liquid just a little bit so that this horseradish can sit on top. And what it's going to do is help tenderize the beef. That's key. It's going to add a little bit of a tangy flavor. Horseradish is known to be spicy. You're not going to really taste the horseradish. You do not have to like spicy foods to like this. You're going to have this rich, succulent pot roast, and you're gonna say, what in the world made this so good? Because again, we're using really simple ingredients here, just 5 key ingredients, and it's going to be the horseradish. It's a game changer. If you have tried my Instant pot roast recipe, you know how good the horseradish is. Seriously, it's just going to make Sunday supper feel like it's at a restaurant, and it is pure cozy comfort. That's it. So we're gonna pop our lid on our slow cooker here, and we're gonna cook on low for 8 to 10 hours or on high for 5 to 6 hours. If you were headed to church Sunday morning, the high is the way to go if you wanna have lunch after church. Otherwise, I really recommend a low and slow crockpot time. It just gives time for the flavors to really develop as it cooks low and slow, so that's the way to go. I'll meet you back here after it's done. Pot roast is done cooking and it smells so good in here. Takes me right back to my childhood. My grandparents would have our entire family over for Sunday dinners, especially during football season. We would watch the Cleveland Browns lose and we would enjoy a delicious meal, usually made by my papa, and one of his go-tos was this pot roast. Everybody loved it. So what I'm gonna do right now is remove the pot roast. It's shrunk down here and it's just falling apart. You can see that. I mean, look at that. I'm gonna place that in a bowl so I can shred it up a little bit and show you how easily it shreds, although I think you can already tell. Then I'm gonna use a spider spoon here, scoop out those potatoes and carrots, place them on a serving platter. So how I like to serve this up is just keep the potatoes and carrots whole right on a platter, and then we're gonna shred up our pot roast and serve that with these potatoes and carrots. And we never, ever made gravy with this liquid. The pot roast is so delicious and so tender, it just doesn't need it. That said, I do have instructions for how to turn this into gravy. You can turn it on high and let it thicken with a cornstarch slurry. You would mix a couple tablespoons of cornstarch with a little bit of water until dissolved and then whisk that in here and cook it for another 30 minutes. You could do that on the stove as well, which is a little bit faster. You could also make a roux with butter and flour and add this broth and thicken that for gravy. But I'm telling you, it's delicious. It really doesn't need it. I like to serve a little bit of the juices over it, and then I save any of the juices. You could use it for French dip. You could use it for a vegetable soup. Oh, the flavor, it's incredible. All right, just take 2 forks and shred up the meat. You can see it just falls apart. It is so tender. Kind of mix that horseradish through the beef. And if you come on any big chunks of fat, just discard those. So then after I've shredded up the beef and plated it with the potatoes and carrots, I'm just going to ladle a little bit of this broth over. Again, you can make gravy. Those instructions will be in the details below or in the recipe card on my blog, but we really do not find it necessary. In fact, I kind of feel like the gravy's great maybe for the potatoes and carrots, but the beef is so flavorful, you really don't want a gravy with it at all. I'm gonna go in for a little bit of a bite now. Get a little bit of the meat. So tender. It's melt in your mouth delicious. The horseradish is not even detectable. It just gives it flavor. So simple, so easy. 5 key ingredients to make a delicious, cozy recipe your family may be talking about for generations to come, just like mine. For the full recipe, be sure to visit amindfulmom.com. Check out the captions below. And for another cozy Instant Pot favorite, be sure to catch my next recipe where I share with you how to make crock pot salsa chicken. Until next time, happy cooking.